'Cause when it comes fall, it's always coming true. And all green is always on the sea. And what good always brings to life again. So get ready, 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 ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
What's going on, everybody? Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green, representing the Man Shout Show with Boy Green Digital. Thanks for joining us this morning. Make sure you guys like the video here on YouTube and hit subscribe. Join the growing army as we make our chase to 1,000 subscribers. We're only about 70 or so people away. Make sure you guys show your support. This show is brought to you by our friends right above me at Northeast Roofing Professionals. They have you covered for anything and everything with your roof, baby. Northeast Roofing Professionals. And this specific episode is brought to you by our friends over at the Allen Floral Group, St. Agnes Florist. We're talking all things Buffalo Bills and flowers for any occasion. And hell, if I had some flowers, I'd give it to this guy right now. It is my best friend, Anthony Prohaska.
Thank you so much for the kind words, the flowers you would hypothetically give me. Yeah, it's nice to see you back in the studio. Just me and Jim last week because you decided to bail on the show. But, to each their own. You had the other, more important things, I guess, trying to enjoy life and doing selfish things like that you were doing. But, yeah, it's nice to see you back in these parts.
Well, I'm glad that the Buffalo Bills had the same energy, not being involved in the Myles Garrett sweepstakes. Apparently they were picking daisies or something. They weren't involved.
Yeah, because everyone is so easily able to execute that deal. Everyone's got an edge that's of Jared Verse caliber and the picks to send to the Browns because that's such an easy. Isn't that all jokes aside, though? Isn't that crazy that you have like an edge of Jared Verse's caliber and trajectory?
Mm-hmm.
And you trade him and you end up with like not only a better edge, but like one of the best of all time who's still like in his prime. Like just
he's 30 or something.
Yeah, he is 30 because I looked it up after that trade happened. Because I was like, how old is Myles Garrett? That's just like it's like, oh, they traded Jared Verse. It's like, okay, like you usually when you see a player for player, it's like, well, okay, you traded an edge and you got a linebacker back, but it's
right,
like, oh,
right, not equate, right?
Yeah, it's just crazy to see, like, oh yeah, well, we traded like a really promising, up and coming, already productive young edge. Well, who'd you get? Like one of the best edges of all time, who's like still in his prime. It's like, oh, how did you do that?
So fill me in because I have not, maybe I just haven't been on Twitter as much in Bills land of swimming through. Has there been a waft from Bills fans of like, geez, why the hell did we get in on this? Was there anything with that?
1,000%. Between that and then the A.J. Brown deal, I think there's still a decent amount of frustration from Bills fans of like, what's the phrasing? Like being never really going all in, but doing
diligence?
Half measures.
Oh,
like making half measure moves and type of and this and could have had this guy. You kind of just dipped your toe in the water. Why not jump in the whole pool?
Right, you needed a receiver. You got DJ Moore. You could have gotten AJ Brown.
Exactly, those type of deals. Like, oh well, it's like, and then some people, and then that whole conversation erodes because then you've got the Bills fans that are like DJ Moore's a wide receiver one, and I'm like, that's not true. And then you've got the other side where that are like, they could have easily gotten A.J. Brown. He's way better. I'm like, that's also not necessarily true. And everything just erodes and it gets chaotic. Yeah, and I think anytime there is a move for an edge or a wide receiver, I do think Bills fans are very much like, Bean could have did that. Bean's just sitting on his hands, especially because with the A.J. Brown move, the Bills were apparently one of the teams that A.J. Brown was willing to go to. I think there was like 4 teams or something like that. And the Bills were
I remember hearing that. Yes, earlier this
so it was like, why wouldn't Bean do that? And then you see the Myles Garrett move, and it's like, why wouldn't Bean do that? It's like, well, the Bills don't have Jared Verse. And like, I don't know, maybe other, like the not even the picks aside, Verse is an important part. So the Bills don't have.
All right, so let's go to the Myles Garrett part here for a second. And then I want to get into A.J. Brown too. So, okay. Yeah. Do you think it would have been, because from what we heard from Andrew Berry, that sure, Jared Verse ends up being the piece that was moved, but how his thought process was from listening to that press conference, and he said, in any world that I traded Myles Garrett, these 3 things had to happen. We're good in the short and long term through our vision of whatever we're going to acquire. We needed a player on a cost control contract at a premium position. So it didn't necessarily have to be edge rusher. It was. and then all the draft picks. So obviously you guys had the draft picks. You could have done that piece.
Yeah.
Is there a cost control player on the Bills at some premium position that you would have been willing to flip if you knew on the other side that Myles Garrett was there? To answer this Bills thing, Bills fans are like, geez, we should have got in on that. Could they have gotten in on that, do you think?
I mean, I would have, no disrespect, I would have flipped probably anybody out of the Bills minus Allen for Garrett. Yeah, I mean, my only qualm with Garrett is like he broke the sack record last year, and it's like, but the extra game. So I feel like there's kind of like an asterisk type of deal. But granted, Michael Strahan should have an asterisk because Brett Favre decided to lay down and give him that sack. But conversation for another time. But you're talking about a guy in Myles Garrett who is arguably the best football player on the planet right now. Absolutely dominant, plays a premium position. Hall of Fame dude already. Like he's, like we said earlier, kind of jokingly, he's one of the best edges, defensive ends, however you want to label, like of all time. So yeah, I would flip whoever necessary. My only thing is, and this is, we got into this several episodes ago when we were talking about the Bills roster, and it's like, okay, if you're thinking about an upcoming Bills Jets game and you're like, oh, they got to play the Bills, oh, it's Josh Allen, who else are you scared of? I think that's the part. Like, who is the young, cost-controlled player that you are putting back to the Rams that's going to make them pull that trigger? I guess maybe if the Rams hadn't upgraded their secondary, Christian Benford, I think could have been really intriguing. I think Christian Benford is in that conversation of like, some people think he is a top 10 corner. I think he's more on like the cusp or in the Rolodex conversation of it. But I think Christian Benford could have been really intriguing if they needed that corner help. And it's like, okay, here's Benford and we're not going to the Rams. You're going to the Browns. Stupid.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're sending them. The Jared Verse level, I don't know who's closest to that for the Bills. Because, again, Verse is a really good player.
Yeah.
Verse is a really good dude. I guess the closest you're getting is, like, I think Christian Benford is one of the better Bills. But I don't think the Browns necessarily, maybe they want a corner. Maybe Benford and Denzel Ward is super intriguing. But they made that move last year where they did the Newsome-Campbell swap. So how do they feel about corner?
Like I looked at, like James Cook is 26, but that's not cost controlled. He's on this massive deal now. So like even he, and that's running back. So
that's it too. So it's not like necessarily, no disrespect, like a premium position. My only thought would be, is it, it's got to be either Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, but his contract is coming up next year or the year after. So he's not really cost controlled. So Rousseau has to be the younger player in the cost control aspect. And then aside from the Browns revamped their whole offensive line, but I'm thinking like, is it Spencer Brown, young player, cost control, one of the better tackles in the league? And again, even in that, like we're trying to parse it. There's not a lot of like, oh, well, this guy, they could have flipped this guy. Like, I don't think the dance is harder. And again, maybe it's still possible though. Maybe it's like, okay, well, you give us that player, but we're going to want an extra pick on top of it. Maybe it looks a little different. You have to sweeten the pot with draft capital a little more if the player for player aspect isn't there. But again, that's what's so tough. Like Jared Verse in his own right is a good football player. It's
100%.
Unfortunate he's just being compared to Myles Garrett, who is one of the best football players in all of football and one of the best edges of all time. And yeah, I just don't think it was that easy for the Bills to swing that deal.
I feel bad if I'm Jared Verse and I get a text and saying, "Hey, Myles Garrett's coming." You're like, "Woo, man! I'm lining up next to Myles Garrett." No, you're leaving, and Myles Garrett is coming here.
We're using you to get him.
Yeah,
and it's also too. I've seen so many things with Verse of like him doing like the workouts with Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
he does a lot of appearances, and like I just think there's a lot of his life as an individual, like as a human being, that is tied to like Los Angeles or being a part of the Rams. Mm-hmm. And now you're so far from that. You are in the Great Lakes. You are in Cleveland, the abandoned building and broken glass capital of the world. And playing for an organization that's trying to find itself. And yeah, man, I was thinking that's kind of the first thing I thought of. I was like, whoa, actually the second. At first I was like, wow, the Rams with Garrett, crazy. And then I was like, oh, Verse, like because he does so many things. You really thought like he was like the next franchise guy. You know,
Sure,
you got
definitely.
Puka on offense, and
Mhm.
Stafford is older. He'll leave soon,
Mhm.
but it was like, oh, versus trying to take the mantle from Aaron Donald and lead
Mhm.
that defense. And he embraced that. Again, building the connection with Aaron Donald and Aaron Donald's family and all these things. And now he's in Cleveland.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was looking at the Myles Garrett stats. This is just stupid. Like
Ridiculous.
here, and I'm turning off the scrolling ticker for a second so you guys can see it. So his rookie year, boo, 7 sacks. What a loser. And then 13 and a half, 10, 12, 16, 16, 14, 14, 23. Like that's insane. And someone shared the stat on Twitter that Myles Garrett, I'm going to mess up the weeks, but it was like weeks 8 through 12 had more sacks last season in that span of time that Jared versus had in his entire career. And I went, wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's
Nuts
actually
stat.
because Verse hasn't had a ton of sack production. He's had a lot of pressures.
Yeah,
And again, he's a good player, but he hasn't had the
of
sack
course.
production that Garrett's
Right.
had. And again, all of this too is with like, granted, the Browns had like the 2023, 2022 time. They had some like that was when Baker was starting to blow up, and they went.
Mhm.
I mean, they should have gone to the AFC Championship against the Bills. That you're
Ah,
playing backup Chad
yeah,
Henne in
yeah.
Kansas City, and
Mhm.
Chad Henne keeps scoring points and then scrambles on like 3rd and
That
14
third
for
and
a first
long.
down.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So the Browns had like some decent teams in there. And they've had a good defense. Jim Schwartz and Denzel Ward is one of the best corners in football, and you've got
Sure.
Garrett. But aside, like they've had a good defense. I don't want to act like what I'm about to say means like they've had nothing, but Garrett's largely done that like without some running mate on the
Right,
line with him.
right.
Like he hasn't had like, oh, it's Garrett and
Right, people
Garrett and
have
he's
been double teaming. They've been triple teaming. They've been
yeah,
trying, but to no avail, clearly, by the
yeah.
stats, which is
It's
that's
crazy. And even I would say
nuts.
even with how good Denzel Ward has been, like on the back end, Denzel Ward has been hurt a bunch. So
Yes.
he's been like impacted. Like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a sick linebacker. He didn't play last year.
Love
He's been in and out.
JOK.
Yeah. I don't even think he's playing again this year with the
He's not. He's on that
blood
neck
clots or the hearts
thing.
the
Yeah,
neck thing.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it could be the blood clots. Like, and he's going to be out for the whole year. And from what I'm hearing from Browns people, it's not like some insider thing that, like, they say that, like, who knows if he'll ever play football again. Like, there's
That
some of that
sucks.
going on. But the cool thing for the Browns is they're putting him on this special reserve thing. So, like, he keeps getting paid. Like, they're not trying to,
Oh,
like,
good for him.
hey, sorry, pal. Like, you
Yeah.
can't play for us. We're not paying you.
We need the money back from your
Right,
contract.
yeah, so I hate when that it happens all the time with the Lions, but, like, did randomly throw shots at random teams here while we're talking about this, but no, so that's which it's a very unfortunate situation. Loved him. Come on, our Golden Domers, baby. But, you know, with all, it sounds like they're doing right by him at least. So hopefully one day he comes back, but, like I said, you never know. So,
Yeah, that's
um
tough.
yeah, that's tough. Let's get into the AJ Brown thing. Okay.
Mhm.
So he comes, not only does he not go to the Bills, as some Bills fans were talking about,
Mhm.
but he goes to the AFC East. He goes to the Patriots. It's been rumored forever a
Yeah.
2028 first, a 2027 fifth. Just first off, on this surface level, this AJ Brown on the Patriots. Are you shaking in your boots over there in Buffalo Bills land? Are you scared? Does that do anything for you?
I mean, I think the only muddiness is, and it's a decent chunk, right? Is like everything that was happening in Philly last year and even the year before a little bit. Like, how much was it AJ Brown? How much of it was Jalen Hurts? Much of it was Sirianni? Like, is it culture? Is it the offense? Like, you can literally devil's advocate any side. Like, there is plenty of tape to show like AJ Brown doesn't really seem like he's trying to run a route here and seems like he's quitting on this a little bit. And then there's just as many things of like, wow, that's a really horrible throw from Jalen Hurts. Wow, that's a really horrible read from Jalen Hurts. Or even the bigger things of like, what is the offense doing? Like, what is their game plan here? Like, I remember thinking that last year when the Bills played the Eagles, the second half of that game where the Eagles only gained like 7 yards or something ridiculous. A lot of the Bills fans' takeaway was like, wow, what an amazing performance from the Bills defense. My bigger takeaway was like, the Eagles offense is horribly disjointed. Like, I don't know what they're calling to set up what. Why are they calling this here? This doesn't lead to anything. But on the surface, AJ Brown is like a monster, like the size, the frame, the athleticism, the speed. And I think what's more scary is, not even just him in a nutshell, but you add him with Romeo Dobbs. And I think that's a really good wide receiver tandem there on your depth chart. Even if you think, oh, well, Dobbs isn't a 1, he's only like a 2. And I think AJ Brown is on the decline and he's only a 2 as well. Those are 2 really good high-end wide receiver 2s. Like, that's a nice mix. And then you've still got Buffalo Bills legend Mac Hollins in there to block and do some stuff. We'll see what happens with Booty. Kyle Williams showed some flashes last year. I think Brown really just rounds out the wide receiver room. And if it's his connection to Vrabel or him just being in a new atmosphere or him just, it really was Hurts and Sirianni and it wasn't Brown. Like, if it's any of those things or all of those things that leads us to seeing more of like prime AJ Brown or the better or best version of AJ Brown, yeah, like that's super worrisome for a quarterback that finished second in the MVP voting and looks to be ascending.
All right, let's play a game. All right. What's more likely? Okay, the last 2 years, AJ Brown has barely scraped over 1,000 yards. But again, whose fault is that? We can all play the game. So you tell me what's more likely between these two scenarios. AJ Brown goes back to being the 14 plus 100-yard receiver he was in back-to-back seasons back in 2022, 2023. Or AJ Brown ends up in all of his antics and locker room issues, goes into the Death Star and blows it up from the inside. So is he the elite superstar receiver he was a couple years ago, or does all of the extra drama and stuff was his fault and it blows up the New England Patriots inside the Death Star from the inside, and it's a drama town, and their trip to the Super Bowl hangover, and their entire team just gets destroyed? What is most likely between those two scenarios?
I can tell how excited you are for the second scenario.
I am 100% excited because here's the thing. If I'm being honest with you, Jets, Bills guy, we're both in the AFC East. Initially, yikes. AJ Brown to me is still really good. And I think a lot of the problems were not just AJ Brown. I think there's a lot of other crap going on in Philly is why he wasn't. I still think he's a physically dominating receiver. And I heard about the degenerative knee stuff and all that crap. I think AJ Brown is still really good. And the likelihood, if I was to answer this question, is yikes. I'm not going to say Randy Moss 23 touchdowns, any of that craziness. I don't think it's that level, but I think he's still really good.
Yeah, so, I would lean in that scenario. I would lean more
of Death Star to me. There's a team
of
like Trojan horse. Oh wow, AJ Brown, this is great. Oh Jesus, oh God, this is terrible. But I think it's more likely if I was to answer my own question about that. 1,400. But I am, of course I'm rooting for the Death Star to get imploded. Yes.
Yeah. If I had to pick one of those two options, I would pick the 1,400 option versus the implosion. But I do think the implosion is a possibility. I can see a world where, Drake May feasted on the deep ball last year. That's hard to sustain. So like that regresses towards the mean a little bit. I could see that. And again, these things could all happen individually or larger, like connected to one another, but I could see that happening a little bit. I can see AJ Brown just sitting in his shoulder pads, kind of sulking on the bench like he did in Philly. I can see the drama. Yep. I can see the drama with the whole, not to open this can of worms, but the whole Vrabel situation and everything. And everybody's talking about the impact on the team. And I can see people running stories of like, oh, this coach who all he preaches is family and loyalty and this and that, and is the exact antithesis of that as a person. All of these things kind of, those chickens kind of coming home to roost a little bit in a bit of a perfect storm and the team imploding. And I would enjoy that, not just as a Bills fan. Again, I love the Bills, obviously, but I am more of a football fan than a Bills fan. But I also think at a certain point, like, we have to be humans more than anything. And watching the amount of Patriots people gloss over the Mike Vrabel situation, like the Cleveland fans who did for Deshaun Watson, I will forever like hate a fan base just forever and want nothing good for them ever. And so, yeah, it would be nice to see that kind of implosion, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Like I feel like Brown will get tapped back into a little bit because of Vrabel. He'll probably end up being like an 1,100 yard receiver, 900 to 1,100 yards, depending on how the direction of the offense goes. And I think the Patriots are probably going to be formidable. I don't know if they're going to go to the Super Bowl again. Again, I'm not being a hater. They shouldn't have gone to the Super Bowl last year. But they're a good team. They got a good offense. I think Drake May is sweet. If the offensive line is better, now that you get to kick Will Campbell inside because you got Lomu at tackle, get some development there. You've improved the receiving core like for year 3 Drake May. That's all scary. It's not good.
Not good. A great way to put it. Well, I need to regroup. Let's take a quick TO. Get out a shout out from our friends over the Allen Floral Group, St. Agnes. We'll be back after this.
Well, hello, how do you do? I got a feeling I'm falling for you. Well, hello, what do you say? I think we can make it a beautiful day. We're gonna make it a beautiful day.
StAgnesFloral.com, baby. StAgnesFloral.com for all the details. Again, I'm here with my best buddy, Anthony Prohaska here, the Man Shout Show, Boy Green Digital, talking all things Buffalo Bills with my best bud, my best pal, my pen pal, my friend, my amigo, compadre, if you will, here on the program, which is marvelous. So this is great. I love spending time. I love bonding together. This is great. We need to go on a camping trip or something. You know what I mean, Anthony?
This seems like a trap. All of the niceties, and you can't even get them out without a wry smirk on your face. I just feel very uneasy. I feel like I'm being set up for a trap.
No way, man. I woke up this morning, blessed be he. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And again, I'm here with Ant-Man, Pro__Ant, because perhaps Pro_Ant wasn't available, or he was looking for the symmetry on both sides of the word, as we've discussed previously. But nonetheless, Anthony, I'm curious, is there a counter move to be made here? Whether it's sort of weird to say it for the Rams side because they're on the NFC, but for the Patriots side too. Like, okay, AJ Brown goes to the Patriots, Myles Garrett goes to the Rams. Is there a move? Is there a Max Crosby move to say, hey, hold my beer, buddy, and you guys can go make that aggressive move? Now, it's probably not in the best interest to be motivated to do a move based on what someone else did versus your own path and destiny. But like, could you see the Bills pulling a counterpunch here and pulling out some move, Max Crosby or some other name we're not thinking of?
I think there's a possibility. I do doubt it. I think if they're going to make any move, it's more of, somebody who is a surprising camp cut or post June 1st cut. And it's like, oh, okay, they get in the water with somebody for like 1 year, 8 million, like the Joey Bosa type deal last year, where it was like 1 year, 10 mil, knowing Brandon Bean, it'll be like 75 void years attached on top of it. But yeah, I could see them getting into like the camp cuts or the roster casualty type of market. And sometimes there's some big names on there. I mean, I'll always think back to and I know it's fewer and farther in between, but I'll always think back to the Ravens getting Steve Smith when the Panthers kind of cut him somewhat expectedly, but unexpectedly. And he went to Baltimore and played really well there. But I think it will be more of that instead of like a trade or a splash move like that. I think the biggest splash the Bills can make this year are really tied to just their own guys developing and ascending and progressing. And I know that's not like a sexy answer, but it's more of like the call, the killer is in the house, or the call is coming from inside the house type of deal. Like they need the guys that they've bet on to prove that they should be bet on and kind of make that jump. And especially with where we are in the offseason, I think it's tough for them to swing a lot of things. So yeah, I would expect some more free agent additions. I don't rule out like Shaq Thompson coming back, Trey White coming back, especially knowing like the corner depth they need. So I could see some returning guys or maybe a bigger name depending on who gets dropped from another team.
Anthony, way to make that reference in the same week that the latest scary movie is coming out.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Actually, I saw a commercial for it last night.
Sure you did. Comes out tomorrow. Wink. Depending on when you're listening to this interview. Well done, Anthony Prohaska. Maybe we could go see the movie together. That'd be great.
Sure. Yes.
I haven't gone to the movies in a while. That'd be great.
Also seems like a trap. It just seems like a trap.
No, I love popcorn. I am on a little bit of a diet kick, so I haven't made any bad choices food wise or drink wise. I'm normally a Mountain Dew guy. I've been off it for days, so I'm trying to get better. But again, if I like the movie's been calling me, I drive by it every time I go to my house. I'm like, ooh, some salty, buttery popcorn, some soda, But I'm trying to be good. Make sure we go through this. So, Anthony, let me know. Your people call my people. We'll see if we can book that for this weekend. Anywho, Anthony, let's get through a couple of OTA topics, and we'll play the game that you love playing, where I put you in an interesting Buffalo Bills pickle, and you'll try to get your way out of it, inevitably pissing off one side of the Bills fan base or not. First off, I want to go to Michael Hoyt. On his timeline recovery from the Achilles injury last season. He says he doesn't want to put like a timeline on the return, and we get that all the time. But so what's the prognosis here for Hoyt? What'd you make of his comments?
Yeah, and he doesn't want to put a timeline on it, but then like the goal or like he expects to be is like ready for week 1, which I think is really encouraging. I'm like, I thought you didn't want to put a timeline on it.
No timeline on it, but
but here's the timeline. I am encouraged by that. I thought it was a possibility. Again, he hurt his Achilles, not even hurt it, tore it, popped it, whatever you want to go with there. Week 9.
Ruptured it. Sure.
Yeah, ruptured it. Week 9 last year against Kansas City. I saw it was like second week in November, like end of first week, second week in November, sometime in there roughly. So I thought it was like, okay, it's like a possibility he'll be ready for the start of the next season. My issue isn't necessarily when, or not my issue. My cause for concern isn't really when he plays. It's just what version of Michael Hoyt do the Bills get? Like it's just
Achilles.
Yeah, like usually and traditionally, somewhat similar to an ACL injury, you really don't get back to your pre-injury self until that following year. So
and some people never get back.
Correct. It's a hard thing to get back from. And so I don't expect to see the Michael Hoyt we saw in 2025. I don't expect to see that Michael Hoyt until 2027. So this year
in the playoffs?
Or maybe, or even just like 2027 regular season.
Nice.
Yeah, but so maybe it is like he does play week 1 and it's like, oh, he's not looking great. But then maybe in December, where like he's starting to find his footing again and things are starting to pick up a little bit. I think the further he gets away from that injury, obviously, hopefully he gets back to his previous self. I want him to be healthy because I think he is the person on the Bills defense that would benefit the most from this change in defensive coaching and structure. He's such a good fit for what Jim Leonard wants to do and what he wants from those guys. And he's one of the few guys in their front who presents like the dynamic nature that Leonard kind of had in different capacities at Wisconsin. So I would really like him to be healthy. I just think it's a lot to expect him. I just want to keep putting that out there because I don't want people to be like, oh, he's going to play week 1. And then when he's moving around kind of wonky and everybody's like, oh, what the hell's wrong with him? It's like, you shouldn't expect him to come back and be fine. He just tore his Achilles 10 months ago. Like we got to pump the brakes a little bit.
Can I share some advice with you and the Buffalo Bills? And this is dead serious.
Sure, yeah, I bet.
Jermaine Johnson tore his Achilles in week 2 of the Tennessee Titans game, not this past season, the year prior. And so he was out for most of the year. So September is when he got hurt and any context that's required as we're talking about Hoyt here. And the Jets slowly brought him along throughout the entire offseason. And then week 1 against the Jets and Steelers, that game, week 1, he played 80% of the snaps. And I went, wow, the Jets must feel great about his recovery. Why would you possibly play a guy coming off an Achilles 80% of the snaps? Week 2 against your Buffalo Bills, he re-aggravated the injury, and then he was on and off the field for the rest. So just some friendly advice. If Michael Hoyt is ready for week 1, maybe don't play him 80% of the snaps. Just from someone that's on the other side of it this past season, just something to throw out there in the universe. Maybe not on 80% of the snaps.
Yeah, maybe ease him back in a little bit. That is very kind and friendly advice.
It was genuine advice.
I think what's good for him with the Bills is you've got Rousseau, you've got Chubb, and then they took TJ Parker. Like you've got 3 guys at your edge spot / outside linebacker, however you want to label them now in the defense. You've got 3 guys that are capable of playing all 3 downs, can play the run downs, can pass rush, can do all that stuff. And then, maybe you get something from Javon Solomon, kind of you want to play there off the edge, or maybe Mike Dana a little bit. But I think what's nice about the Bills with Hoyt is they can kind of ease him in. Like if he is ready for week 1, they can literally sit there and be like, okay, here's the game plan. We're going to give you 20% of snaps, and then we're going to rev that up 5% each week to make sure like they're not in the situation kind of that maybe Jermaine and the Jets were in last year. It was like, oh, you're back. Sweet. We need you and Will McDonald to play all these reps. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think they can afford to kind of ease him in a little bit. And I think they will do so. They've been pretty good with injury management for a lot of folks. when, especially for those type of injuries, minus like, hey, Bosa broke his hand, so we're just going to put a club on it and let him play, which a lot of teams do.
All right, I want to get to this other piece of Bills news. You see this sometimes from NFL teams when you're at this 90 or 91 man roster stage for the International Pathway Program for the teams that have those roster exemptions, where teams experiment a little bit. They got a lot of players that they can flip around. And I saw that this news made you go, and that is Sal Capaccio, WGR 550. Travis Clayton moves from the offensive line to the defensive line at Bills OTAs, and that guy, Anthony, to give a little. So I throw it over to you. Muy interesante, Prohaska.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting to see. I think anytime somebody switches a side of the ball, I think it's somewhat notable. And so it was that of just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then it was also a bit tongue in cheek because I've talked so much about them needing like different body types on defensive line and them not doing anything about that. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So the solution is to move Travis Clayton to defensive line. So yeah, it was a bit tongue in cheek, but also it is notable, like it's especially for him. And just like in general, you don't really see this kind of ever. I mean, you do like high school going to college, right? Like, oh, this guy was a tight end in high school. Now he's going to be a defensive tackle.
It's very rare at the NFL level, the professional level. Hey, do you just want to learn a completely new position?
Yeah. Do you want to change everything you knew? Like, I guess it's still trenches. So it's like, oh, okay, you've learned some offensive line. Now we're going to switch it. Have you play defensive line? So yeah, it was just the thing that I was like, okay, that's kind of notable. But also a little bit of like, oh, are you making this because you like, are you doing it purely because, and it could be one of these things I'm about to say, it could be a combination of both. Like, are you doing this because you think it's the best move for Clayton and you want to see something because maybe he's not going to make it at O-line? You're like, oh, he might be able to do some.
What do we have to lose?
Yeah, like, let's do it. Or are you like, hey, we could use some more defensive line depth? I'd be like, that's the solution? I doubt it's that. So yeah, it was a little just more tongue in cheek, but also notable because that's a big change. Especially for him, given like what his trajectory has been and where he is, and again, former rugby player, so he probably knows how to tackle. He's probably good being physical. He's probably used to being the hammer more than he is kind of being the nail. So
I don't
judge. And I also like, I mean, the athleticism was there and, the length and the movement, and he's huge, so, okay, take the 6'7", 300-pound dude and throw him on the defensive line and maybe let him tap into the rugby piece a little bit and just go beat people up and attack.
I just imagine the boardroom, right? That Brandon Beane's like, damn it, we need more defensive linemen, people. We need answers. And people around the room, someone goes, excuse me? Yeah, you in the back. What do you got? Maybe Travis Clayton just jumps the other side. He's like, oh, yeah. Give him a call. Let's switch it. Switch it on the roster. Like just that could be the answer. That would be much more hilarious.
I also think it's funny too with the type of mover that he is. He's ironically like, if he was on the defensive line, he'd also be like a penetrating type of dude, which fits like the type. I'm like, oh, of course, yeah, because he was probably like, how much does he weigh? It's like 300 pounds. Like, oh, perfect. One gap, penetrate. Let's get him on the line. It's like, can you get a different guy on the defensive line? Can we get him like a different body type, player type, maybe? But yeah, I like that idea of being like, oh, I love it. Or the idea of him being completely inept and being like, who's Travis?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Who? What? That'd be hilarious too. Yeah. They're throwing out the glass part of the top building on those newspaper things. So, all right, Anthony, it's time. Let's play the game. Here we go. I dug into my bag here. And, again, you just mentioned earlier that you're a football fan on top of being a Buffalo Bills fan. Yeah, so you have those sort of combinations together. And, being in the AFC East, so maybe I know these names more because of just being a fan in the division. I'm just seeing these names. So here's the first one I throw out. So you pick one of these two. Okay, they're both done. Leotis,
hold on. I'm picking them like
based on their Bills careers. No. So okay.
Still the Bills element. It's still the
it's the Bills element.
I wanted to make sure we were doing previous. I wanted to make sure we were doing previous rules. I wanted to make sure there wasn't some secret Rumpelstiltskin like change here where you get me later and you're like, oh, you got it wrong. Give me your kid. So I don't
Oh,
wanna,
wow. Okay. We have two. I'm not sure if we want a third, but I never thought of whether my third would be stealing someone else's. But
but
I'm glad that.
why close the door on
Yeah, exactly. The
opportunities?
boardroom. You just said, and I'm like,
This could be a Travis
well,
Clayton type
damn it.
move.
Call it Prohaska. Yeah,
Get the kid.
we're ravaging the village over there. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Leotis McKelvin,
Mm.
Jarius Bird.
Oh, Bird.
Oh, that's disrespectful. But I will say this. Here are the numbers, because like the numbers back what you just said. But like Bird obviously had more production, and they're both just defensive backs here. But I have Bird's number here. Let me
Yeah,
get
Bird was a safety. McKelvin was a corner. McKelvin ended
Yes.
up like rounding out pretty well. Was more like traits than he was technique and everything when he came out. Was a really good returner.
Okay.
Started to become like a pretty good corner in his own right. I'm always going to remember him fumbling on the Monday night game against New England, the TO debut game that ended up leading to the Bills losing that game. But I mean, Bird got like all pro votes, if I remember correctly, and he very productive at safety. A lot of interceptions.
He was, as a matter of fact, I have his stuff in front of me here. So he was a second team All Pro twice, 2012 and 2013, both with the Bills, and he was a Pro Bowler in each of those years as well. All right, let's play a trivia game now, and then I'll get into my McKelvin thing in a second. Okay, so here's what I'll give you. Jarius Bird played for the Bills from 2009 to 2013. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
How many picks did he have with the Buffalo Bills? He played from 2009 to 2013 in Buffalo. How many picks did he have? In Bill's career only.
Hold on here.
Okay.
19.
22.
Oh,
not too bad though. You're right in the vicinity. You're right in the general ballpark. But yeah, so again, numbers, his are better. He has the 11th most interceptions in Buffalo Bills history. Which is a cool little fun fact there. But like Leotis McKelvin, he doesn't have as many as 13 picks, but he played longer for the Buffalo Bills. The fact loyalty means nothing to you. It's all production. Come on, man. What about Leotis McKelvin? You remember Leotis McKelvin? He was a first-team All-Pro as a rookie. 2008, 11th overall pick. First-team All-Pro. You just throw that aside, which is crazy as a rookie to be a first-team All-Pro.
As a returner, though, I'm imagining.
Well, that still counts.
It does, but I'll take the unless you are Devin Hester, I'm not gonna take like a returner over somebody who's giving
he was just as high as Devin Hester. They were both probably first team All Pros, former. So.
Fair, but come on, Devin Hester versus anybody as a returner it's no comparison.
That seems kind of okay. What Darren Sharper in terms of picks? I take him over Jarius Bird. That seems kind of ridiculous to compare him to Devin Hester. He's that Devin Hester. So
well, I wouldn't take Darren Sharper because he's a garbage human.
Well, that too. I immediately thought that when I just said that.
But
name.
Bird was good, good. Like Bird was an actual like.
But so was Leotis McKelvin.
Yeah, fair. He was a good returner and like a pretty good corner in spurts. But I would take Bird. He was, I think he was the better football player, not just production. I think he was the better football player. Although, again, McKelvin did kind of round into form as a corner and became a good player.
Okay. Let me give you another one.
Oh, boy.
Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer.
Oh, I don't want to play this game at all. That's so terrible.
Well, pick, buddy. Pick your children. Actually, don't you only have one kid?
I do.
Okay. So I guess it's easier to pick.
Default.
The favorite and the worst. Nice. Anywho,
Micah Hyde.
You didn't say that with a lot of confidence at all.
I'm torn. They're both awesome.
Wow. I'm going to tell Poyer you said that. I'm going to tell Poyer you said that.
I think at the end of the day, even though they were both very interchangeable and they were at the forefront of like that movement where it's not really a free safety and a strong safety. You just have two safeties. Poyer was more of the strong, and Hyde, or Poyer had more strong safety like traits, and Hyde had more free safety type of traits. And so when in doubt, I will default to the guy who's more of like the ball hawk and the range guy. Again, that's not to say that Poyer couldn't do that, but I just think it was dialed up a bit more for Hyde. Just like Hyde could play in the box, but that was just dialed up a bit more for Poyer. But again, they were both sick. Like I'm going to say Hyde, but it's like, I don't know, like 51-49 type of deal, 52-48. Like it's close. Like I could go either way, but I'll lean Hyde.
We live in a binary world. There's a winner and a loser. Don't try to give me, well, you were just right there.
But I told you who I picked. I'm just letting you know that it's a tough decision.
Okay, let me give you another one here.
Great.
Josh Allen, Jim Kelly. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is I'm letting whoever knows that loses this. I'm texting them. I'm calling them.
That's funny. What I don't like with this conversation, especially for quarterbacks, but it's not even necessarily quarterbacks, but quarterbacks play into it heavily. The era of football is so different.
The K-gun offense. Come on.
True. But that's what I'm saying. Like, so imagine that Bills offense in today's NFL.
Sure,
like how sick it would be. But also you could make the case like maybe they wouldn't be as good because the athletes are different on the defensive side of the ball. But then also like imagine like Jim Kelly and those guys on that offense having like modern day training regimen.
That's what I was just going to counter to say. Like,
yes.
It's unfair to just place them here and say, wow, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger than the 90s. Yeah, okay, but that doesn't seem fair.
But then, yeah,
but they would have had the training, so they would have been more athletic, bigger, faster, stronger.
Exactly. So, and it's so tough. And
so what's your answer, man?
I don't know. I think about this all the time because people
now it's time to give an answer, pal. Because think about it all the time.
People for years, like as soon as Allen won the MVP or even years ago, everybody was like, Allen's the best Bill, like the best Bill ever. There's people who put him over like Bruce Smith. I don't
over
know.
Bruce Smith?
Yeah,
the guy who is 200 sacks.
Everybody loves quarterbacks. Everybody loves quarterbacks.
That's disrespectful, man.
I don't know.
Thurman Thomas over Thurman Thomas? Andre Reed?
No, if we're talking like I would take.
No, I was just saying, you said some Bill said he's the best Bill ever. I'd start thinking of great Bills. I'm like, wow,
I agree.
That's messed up. So wait, you can't say, I don't know. Answer the gosh darn question, Anthony.
I don't know. What do you
mean you don't know? Answer it. You're Bills analyst cover one. You're being cover one selfish. Just cover one you. Come on, man. Answer the question.
Josh Allen.
The way you said that.
I don't have an answer. It's really tough. You could make the case either way. And again, it's my issue isn't necessarily with them. It's like the whole era of football thing.
And how can you pick Josh Allen and like Jim Kelly's career is done? Yeah, Josh Allen's career is still TBD, and you're still picking him. So you're saying, wow, not only are you picking him over Jim Kelly and saying he's already better. Now you're saying he's just going to keep increasing the gap throughout the rest of his career. I assume we're not thinking Josh Allen's retiring tomorrow. He's not pulling an Andrew Luck, unfortunately for my Jets. So, what? Come on.
I tell you what also makes it wonky with Kelly too is not that the USFL was bad, was like he wasn't in the NFL for his whole career, and so I wonder what he would have looked like.
So you dock him points for that?
No, not docking him. I just wonder like how much better he would have been even further. Like what if he came to the NFL? Yeah, or just even if he just came to the Bills right away out of college, or came right to the league instead of going to play for the Houston Gamblers. Like that's just the time difference.
There's the '83 draft, right?
Yeah, that legendary draft that year. Yeah, he did not. He famously did not want to go to the Bills. He didn't want to play there.
What changed, by the way? What happened? Maybe I never heard that story.
I think because that was what the USFL, right?
Correct, is where he was,
or the UFL.
Yeah, UFL, not USFL.
I think, or maybe USFL.
No, it was US. It's now UFL.
Yes,
that's the combined of XFL and AA, whatever the other one is, XFL and the other one. So,
I think that league just folded. Like it ended in 1986.
Oh, so he had no choice.
Yeah, he had no.
So he didn't have this coming to Jesus moment
of
like,
famously, somewhat famously, depending on if you know the lore or watched it. He lands in Houston.
All right.
And I think he's in front of like the hotel or the airport. Like he's doing some kind of interview and he's wearing a suit and he's got sunglasses and like one of the reporters asks him like, oh, like, why did you come here? You got drafted by the Bills, the NFL. And he gives like, to paraphrase, but I'm close to verbatim here. He says something of like, well, where would you rather be? Like Houston or Buffalo? And it's like, oh yeah. Like he did not want to go to Buffalo. They had the cameras on him when he got drafted in that draft. And like, he gets picked and he's just like, this sucks. Like he was not pleased. So he did not want to. I think the league folded and he had no choice.
So does that dock him points that he didn't want to be there?
No, I don't care. Like it.
But as a fan, I could imagine someone would care. Like, oh, you son of a. Even though he had all this success.
I'm building this. You're asking me to pick between the two. I'm building this purely from scheme and structure. And I'm thinking like, okay, like
who's the rest of your coaching staff? Scheme and structure. Who's your offensive coordinator? Who's your defense coordinator?
Well, we
open
haven't
up
gotten there
Pandora's
yet. We're
box.
just starting with that quarterback, and I'm
Okay,
thinking of
all
all
right.
the things I could do with Allen versus the things I could do with Kelly. Granted, I didn't study. That's also the thing for me too. Like, I didn't study the '90s Bills on tape like I do with the Bills now, so I don't know. Like, Kelly could be the better decision maker times 1,000, or like the ball placement, the throwing. Like, I only know from what I've seen from like old games that are available on YouTube, and then my brain of what he was like towards the end of his career.
But don't you have
Than
bigger so okay, I understand what you're saying because, like, again, we're both around the same age. Or actually, no, you're like far younger than me, right? How old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, wow, you're older than me. Whoops. Yep,
Okay, yeah.
sorry. I thought you were way younger than me. Yep, well, great genes. Shout out to the
Oh, thank
Prohaska
you so much.
parents, I guess.
Thank you so much.
But no, I meant like with your analysis not being able to break them down to the same level totally makes sense with your age. But like, if that means you've only been able to do your massive film analysis on the current bills, sure, you have the pros of whatever you analyze. That also means you have the harsher criticisms because you've been digging into the film on
True.
them that you wouldn't have for the others. So that
Yes.
almost like you have mystery door, relatively speaking. We all know what the Bills did, but you didn't have the film access and everything else outside of whatever you're going to be watching on old school tapes at NFL Films, one NFL Films drive over there. But wouldn't you have harsher criticisms of current Bills based on the analysis you have versus what you don't know with that original Buffalo teams in the
1,000%.
90s?
Yeah, it goes both ways. Like, it's like, oh, I know more from the good, but I also know more from the bad. And I think that kind of ambiguousness for like the previous generations is also good and bad for them. The way I think of it too is, and this probably isn't fair, but I think if I if I took Josh Allen,
Yes.
right, or a lot, maybe even some other, again, this isn't to knock Kelly at all, but if I took Allen and I gave him, you know, the defensive player of the year in Bruce Smith and one of the best defensive players of all time in Bruce Smith, like if I gave him that defense with those players and Bruce and Cornelius Bennett and Bryce Paup and Thurman Thomas and all these other, like, again, that's what, not to get off track here. That's what's so frustrating about those Bills teams that went to 4 straight and didn't win a Super Bowl. That accomplishment is amazing. No one's ever done that, and they'll never get the credit for it. And on top of that, they had so many good players. Like, there's Hall of Famers all over those squads, and those guys will never get their due. And so I think of that as well. Again, you and I just talked about it earlier. How much have we talked about these Bills teams where it's like, oh, Josh Allen, and who else scares you? Imagine if it was like Josh Allen and Bruce Smith and Thurman Thomas and Cornelius Bennett and Bryce Paup and Andre Reed and then like that offensive line they had. Imagine if it was like even if it was just, we just talked about Myles Garrett. Like, imagine if the Bills had Myles Garrett right now, because that's what Kelly had on the other side of the ball. He had Bruce Smith, NFL career sack leader, defensive player of the year, perennial all-pro monster dude. And then they had other guys aside from that. So again, it's all trying to, like, you try to make apples to apples as much as you can, even though it's impossible. But yeah, I think I would take Allen.
All right, fair enough. That was a fun game to end this thing. So, best
Stressed me
bud,
out.
Anthony Prohaska, great sharing time with you. You know, this was nice, a long conversation. Just me and you, no man-child. That's okay. He covered for me last week, so only fair as he's celebrating all his New York Knicks glory. But appreciate it, pal. Thank you for representing Cover One, baby.
No, yeah, this was a great time. I appreciate you having me as always, and I definitely wasn't nervous and stressed out and waiting for a trap the entire back half of the show.
No trap. No
Yeah.
trap. No Star Wars. It's a trap. It's a
Yeah,
trap.
it's a trap.
Nope.
Very
No
good.
trap, buddy. No T-rap. We're all here. We're all cards on the table, my friend. All cards on the table. Looking forward to this next week.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I'll see you then.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. Take care.